to it.
Hey, I'm Wes Maebe here at Galaxy Studios in Belgium, and this is the Break It Down show.
The Wesonator, back again.
How many times have I said that?
Not enough. Not
Okay,
enough.
good.
Man, it's good to see your face.
Oh, absolutely. Been missing you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've all been in the same room.
I know. Bit silly.
Yeah.
We need
Much
to remedy that.
You're at Galaxy Studios and I'm in my car.
I can see that.
That's terrible.
Are you on your way to go and get some tacos?
I'm on my way to a building inspection.
Oh. Uh-oh.
No, I should go well, but it looks like you're going to have a little more fun today than I am. What are you working on there at Galaxy?
Oh, lots of different things. Been working on a young lady called Florentine. She's Belgian from the area here, and she won a local talent contest. And the price was 3 days in the studio.
Wow.
Which is a very nice price. So we recorded 4 songs, and then I got to work with another local band called the Red Stags, and we did 4 tracks with them. Full band, drums, bass, guitar, keys, vocals. And these guys, Grey Noise, my Belgian electronic outfit. So I've been doing some mixing for them as well, and generally doing some stuff here, doing some maintenance. That's why this beast is switched off at the moment, because I'm doing some maintenance on it.
Ah,
yeah.
I like that Grey Noise t-shirt, man. That looks pretty sweet. We'll have to check that project out with you.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're two lovely guys. Molla is an IT guy, and he's called Molla, which is the Flemish for mole, because he's a night creature.
Ah, I see.
And Scylla, who's the best fry baker in the fucking world.
Whoa, that's dangerous.
I drive an hour to go and eat those fries when I'm here. So,
wow.
Yes, and yeah.
Let's make something clear too. You know, the world knows fries as French fries.
Yeah, fuck that.
But Belgian fries, Belgians know what to do with those fries.
Well, Belgian fries are slightly thicker. So 10 millimeters is the magic number, as where French fries are a little thinner. They're a little bit more matchsticky.
They also exercise a little better technique too.
Well, the Belgian thing is the double bake,
twice frying.
You have to start early in the day, so that after the first fry, the potatoes can lie relaxed on cotton sheets and shed the starch, which then means you don't get indigestion when you stuff yourself.
That's right. And you get that nice tender internal with the crispy outer layer.
Crispy on the outside, slightly soft on the inside. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So who knew that?
And about 100 different sauces too.
Yeah. See, that's it. The accoutrements. And then who knew that a music show was going to end up starting off on fries? But really, this is a show about culture.
It
is
a
show about doing it right.
Yeah. It totally is.
Yeah, man. So Galaxy, huh? You're returning to your roots there in Belgium.
Yes. I mean, this room is not where I started. The room I started is the room behind the room that's behind that massive speaker.
I see.
And now I'm currently mostly in the next room. I mean, we should do a show about this place, because there's so much to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so much interesting stuff to talk about. It's like this entire building is sitting on springs.
No kidding.
I'm currently sitting on springs, and every room is a separate building. Nothing touches, and when you can go into the basement, and everything sits on springs.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So it's a great place acoustically, and if you just want to do a backflip.
Oh, you can do backflips. I mean,
are you gonna do one?
You can. I can't do shit. That's the live room right there. They're sampling a piano in there at the moment, so I can't go in.
Nice.
But yeah, it's huge. I mean, it holds a full symphony orchestra. That place.
Wow.
And if you
Hey,
want a big drum reverb, you just go and hit a drum in there.
I saw John's band play 2 weekends ago, and
Yes.
man, they are so much fun. They play a lot of great songs. I don't know, they just play all kinds of stuff, and they're just so much fun. And it's great. What's the best thing is they got this guy Doug in their band, right? And Doug,
Marcos.
yes,
Yeah.
Doug almost died, right? And so he lives life with a big smile on his face. He's playing rhythm guitar, and he's just like, just having the best time. And it's so
nobody has more fun than Doug.
Yeah, don't you love guys like that? I mean, isn't it? It's just great to watch them, whatever they're doing, if it's music or whatever. But they love it like that. Do you have anybody who pops into your mind when I say that to you?
What? Just the enjoyment?
Yeah.
Oh God. Pretty much everybody I work with.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what happens when you work with the Wesonator. That's just what happens when you hang around with the Wesonator.
Wait, you either get annoyed because I pick holes in your performance, or you love it and you get better.
Wes does have an ear. He definitely listens at a level that's pretty intense.
Okay, somebody just sprung to mind in that. It's TJ from 10 Gauge.
Love it.
Oh yeah,
he's awesome, you know him, the Tasmanian Devil on speed.
Yeah.
That's a great vibe.
I don't want to give the vibe that Jon isn't having a great time too, because he absolutely is slowing down to look around. You watch him just looking around the floor, and he's just smiling. It's really great to watch him play.
Yeah, but he's got to be laid back. He's got to.
Yeah, I'm laying in it.
He's got to deal with the pocket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am. I sit in there like there's gravy at the bottom of it too.
Yeah.
He does.
You know what's great is that whenever we get to talk to you about the recording process and how everybody's contribution to it is different vibe wise, because when you talk about a guy like TJ being full of energy, a lot of people think the drummer has to be full of energy, and there are a lot of drummers out there who are who embody that, and that's also great. I mean, Neil is also full of energy, speaking of 10 Gauge, but I've always really liked the laid back guys. I've always liked, like my favorite drummers really that spring to mind when I say that, J.R. Robinson and Rick Marotta and guys like that who just lay in that groove. And that I just really love that vibe, because then everybody else can springboard off of it.
That's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah. So what do you prefer when it comes to recording?
When it comes to recording, well, I mean, I have that philosophy that whatever you put into it will end up on tape. So if you are being reserved, it's gonna sound reserved. So if the song requires a bit of oomph, then provide it, lay into it. I mean, you don't need to be a Tommy Lee in the recording studio, because nobody's going to be paying attention anyway. But approach it with the vibe that the song requires.
Yeah, I mean, I love the theatrics and stuff. Tommy Lee.
Oh
awesome,
yeah,
but that's not going to impress Wes in the booth.
Well,
it's about what goes on tape.
I'll see it, but I'd like it to sound good too.
Yeah, I've tended to be critical of that stuff back then. I love the spectacle of, and I've always loved Motley Crue and Tommy Lee, of course.
Bloody hell.
But I did tend to be critical of that, because I know he's there are drum grooves that he plays that are really, really good. Kickstart My Heart is one of my favorite.
My favorite
grooves. Yeah, and when he lays in like that, he's not. He was in the studio playing that groove. He wasn't, being theatrical and whipping his arms around and stuff. And I like his playing for the sound of it as well. So if you go see him for the circus, then by all means, enjoy that. But
definitely, and circus you will get.
Yeah, that's true. He's a great ambassador for the drums.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite drummers.
Who are the ambassadors for sound engineers nowadays?
Oh, Jesus Christ! How long have you got? Well, my heroes: George Massenberg,
Mm,
Chuck Ainley, Frank Filippetti, Al Schmidt. Sadly, no longer with us.
yeah,
Ed Cherney,
yeah,
same.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
all those guys.
Bruce Swedeen.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean the list
Yeah,
is
we had
pretty
some losses the last year or so.
endless. Yeah, it's been mean, very mean.
Did either of you have Snoop Dogg on your card of like things you didn't expect is becoming kind of this Dean Martin / Gene Simmons pitchman? Like
Mm.
he's selling cereal now. I mean,
Cereal.
game show host, serial, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable that
Yeah.
you can. What is it about the rappers, you guys think, that makes them get out of music and into something else, as opposed to, I don't know, whatever, let me think of someone. Smokey Robinson still goes out on the road and performs.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson's almost 90 and he's on the road. He might sell a brand of weed, but he's not selling cereal. He's not trying to get on TV to do a game show, right? What's that difference, do you think, artistically? What causes that change?
The rappers they're wired differently than the musicians. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that to disparage
Mhm,
the
mhm.
music making of hip hop. They are music makers, but when I say the word musician, it's just not just the same as saying someone who makes music. There are some people who are wired as musicians, and we know those guys. They're those guys who are wired to be on the road. They're dedicated to making that music. And a lot of rappers are simply musically talented entrepreneurs. Baby Bash is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
He's our friend, and he's a he's made a couple of great hits that people really identify with, but he's not a musician's musician. He's an entrepreneur who has a musical talent that people identify with, and he's been able to capitalize on it, and he's great at it. But he will tell you, like, when he goes in the studio, he will have a vision, but he's dependent on somebody who wants to make that vision happen and can execute it, on keys or whatever other instruments.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe hip hop in itself has been more of a brand, and therefore maybe they're a little closer to business rather than just being creative.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just
I
guessing.
think that's a way to encapsulate it, because the the guys who are musicians, they're musicians, as I say that word, and I'm not pretending to be the guy who's the arbiter of the definition of musician, but I think everybody who's hearing me, especially in this trio right here, understands what I'm talking about. Like, the guy who's hucking the guitar around and he's dedicated to that instrument, that's a different wiring than the guy who is, let's say, comes from uh, humble beginnings and has his eye on something and has a vision for, not just the making of the music, but the making of the vision that brings the people and and I got to buy my mama a house, and
Yeah.
those kind of obligations. That guy is different from the guy who's just like the guitar nerd.
Well,
And I embrace both.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they've grown up in a lot of the times pretty violent situations. So I think they're probably bigger go-getters to get out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think it makes a different kind of storyteller as well.
Definitely.
And that is definitely Snoop. He's certainly capable of telling a story. And even when, like, if you go back to his first appearance on Dr. Dre albums, you could tell he had a unique voice and an ability to tell the story in a way that engaged people. And then when you fast forward to him hanging out with Martha Stewart and making pancakes, he still he's utilizing that unique voice to tell that story.
And a good sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not gonna be selling cereal without a sense of humor.
That's true.
That's
true. Yeah. The Snoop Loops, have you Dave Lawson is the bass player in Uncommon Wealth, and he's a wonderful musician, a wonderful guy to make music with. He just threw a comment up about the Chronic.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a story with the Chronic? Did that album mean something to you?
No, because at the time when I was in high school, I had been introduced to guitar. So, you know, at one point I said, I'm bored. My dad dragged me into a guitar shop, bought the cheapest guitar ever, just gave it to me and said, here, you'll never be bored again. So I was like Deep Purple, Floyd, Clapton, and then a friend of mine introduced me to all the guitar crazy whittlers like Satriani, Vai, George Lynch, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that the hip hop thing kind of was not my thing at the moment. It was like you were either into the hip hop camp or you were into the guitar camp.
Yeah.
So the hip hop thing kind of came to me much later, and it was with Doggy Style, and the early Wu-Tang Clan stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which I just absolutely ate up. I was like, oh, hello, now I get it.
Yeah. One of the things that I like to do on road trips is I play a lot of music, and especially like road trippy kind of music. And I don't know what road trip music is in Europe, but I know what it is here in America. And it's like Willie Nelson. And I listen to a shit ton of Roy Clark. I cannot ever get enough of Roy Clark. And John and I were in the truck, and we were just sampling through things. And man, you see stuff like that. You know, does Roy Clark make it over there? I mean, I know you probably as a professional, but
yeah. I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'll probably know all that stuff via England. So I always go, I know who you're talking about. And it's like, oh no, that might not have made it here.
Yeah. Also being a guitar head, because you could not escape Roy Clark as a guitar head.
Yes. Yeah.
That fool chopped people's heads right off.
They'll thank him for it too.
That's right. See, that Roy Clark, he's a musician. Like he was dedicated to that instrument in a way that you know, it's different than somebody who was in hip hop. Although there were not really hip hop guitar players. There was a guy in the Bay Area named K. Lou, and he's a fantastic guitar player. He had a Les Paul custom that he would break out every once in a while and just blow people's minds, and then he would sit back down behind the board and, you know, produce these rappers. And I always thought, man, these rappers have no idea the monster who's sitting behind the board if they would let that guy loose.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's a guy in Oakland, right? Actually, he's from Oakland, but I believe he's spent this week in the Bahamas somewhere, named Jubu Smith.
Okay.
And Jubu, holy cow, he's a greasy guitar player. And anybody who I don't know what he played on back then, but he ended up he was sort of the guitar genius behind the band Tony, but wasn't properly credited about it.
Right.
And man, there were guys who really were playing the guitar, and they, you know, continued on as musicians, but they came out of the hip hop world.
I mean, there was sort of the crossover stuff with Body Count, which was like hip hop meets.
Oh yeah, Body Count.
Metal.
That guitar player's name was Ernie something. I can't remember
That's
what
right.
his last name
That's
was.
right.
That dude was, oh my God, he was a ball of smoke, man. That guy
he was
burned.
Yeah, awesome. I was listening to that the other day.
Body Count. I saw them on the first Lollapalooza tour.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. That was a nice lineup.
I still have the illegal copy of the album with
Yeah.
Cop Killer on it, which
Yeah.
was then deleted.
That's right. Yes, I had the illegal. I'm sure I could dig it out of the basement somewhere. But yeah, I was really into that album because I was into hip hop. I really straddled both worlds.
Yeah. Well, if music's good, it's good. Doesn't matter.
One of the things that we want to expand into, and John wants to have his own show that he does his own things, and so I'm like the energy and he's the idea, but he wants to do a show called Focus on the Funk, and this is sort of like a pilot on what we might do. But I was going
Okay.
to let John talk about funk with you for a little bit because I know you'll have some opinions and I know John will have some questions, and now I'm going to shut up.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. I've been talking about Focus on the Funk for a while, and I've been thinking about doing it and thinking about who my first guest was, and I've been trying to nail down a couple of people who I thought would be a great first guest.
Yeah.
Of course, somebody like Sly Stone would be an awesome first guest.
Yeah.
Lenny Williams. I've been calling Lenny, but he's been busy. And, there are a number of people, especially in the Bay Area. But really, I need to stop, just quit waiting and just start them. And so I would say, let's let this be the inaugural episode because it's only appropriate that you would be the inaugural guest. So one of our funk debates. First, I'm going to tell my chronic story.
Okay.
Because I am time crunched because I got to get to this building inspection. But first, my chronic story is that I was at Solano Community College, which is a JC near us, and I was doing this. At the time I was taking a speech class, which seemed to me like an elective that I could cruise through, and of course it was exactly that. But I was giving a speech about navigation or something, and it required me to get a map of the world, and I had it mounted on corkboard, and I needed to drive slowly because I had to drive it in the back of my truck all the way home. So I needed to take the back roads, not the freeway, and I needed to drive slowly. And I was getting it home, and just coincidentally, I ran into one of my longest and dearest friends, Corey Jacobs, who's a magnificent keyboard player. For anybody who's listening doesn't know Corey, he is a 400-pound gorilla. And so we ran into each other at Solano College, and he was like, "Oh, you're going to drive slow home? Here, take this." And he gave me the cassette of the Chronic, and it coincided with me putting this amazing stereo in my truck with just subwoofers to just make you lose your bowels. So I put that thing in, and I started the slow drive home on country roads, and oh my God, I had exactly the experience that anybody that was intended for the Chronic. And just fidelity and, everything was there. And I went on the journey with that record the very first time I put it in the deck. So, naturally, when I raised boys, there came a point in time where it was appropriate for me to hand that off to them and give them their musical experience, which was around the time when they were approximately 5 years old.
Okay.
I was like, we're getting this party off right here. You need this. This is gonna, some guys have that, I just heard a story. I think it was Chris Evans or somebody was telling a story on a talk show where he was saying, like, when I went fishing with my old man, that was like when we were on the boat and we were fishing, I had license to cuss. It was like, that was the bonding time with my dad that I spent where it was like, it's just you and me out here. We're cutting loose. You do whatever you want. You can say anything. And so that was like the time that we spent in the car listening to the Chronic and Straight Outta Compton and Shorty the Pimp. Those were that was the triumvirate of albums where I was like, okay, it's time for you to cut loose. Here's your musical education. So that was that. That I think did a lot for if there was something that kind of hip hop, that generation of hip hop did for sound and for appreciation for engineers, for guys like you, it was that it introduced a certain kind of listener to fidelity. Because rap albums before that didn't sound that great.
No, they were a little, yeah, they were a little rough and ready.
Yeah, they're kind of cheaply thrown together.
Which had an appeal for sure.
Yeah, that has its own charm.
Yeah.
But like, the Chronic, I don't know where they recorded that, but that might have been done at, someplace. I know they used that was probably like a Studer 2-inch tape machine.
Most likely.
Yeah. I mean, that album had fidelity. And, I don't know where they did Straight Outta Compton either, but I know that, Shorty the Pimp was recorded by Al Eaton at One Little Indian Music in Oakland, California, and I know he had a Studer 2-inch tape machine.
Excellent.
Or an Ampex. Yeah, I mean they went for the fidelity.
Death Row Studios in LA.
Okay, they spent money building that place.
Must have done, yes. Yeah.
Dave Lawson, who teaches basic recording at Vallejo High School.
Okay.
He's a history teacher, but he teaches that introduction to kids to multi-track recording. So anyway,
excellent.
None of that is a question for you, Wes. That was just me thinking out loud, reminiscing about stuff.
We're having chats, man.
Yeah. Let me throw this your way though about funk music, because Pete and I are constantly having a debate about what constitutes funk. And to me, I think it's best encapsulated, because I'm a drummer, of course, when you create tension in the music. And for me, that tension is typically created when you are driving the groove forward with the bass drum and pulling it back with the backbeat on the snare.
On the snare, yep. Yeah, that makes sense. I would probably agree with that. Yeah.
So if you know that is my objective, how do you mic that? And what makes a good sounding drum sound that'll make it real funky?
Oh, well, I mean, how long is a piece of string? Well, I mean, if you have an amazing sounding room, you have an amazing sounding drum kit, you have a guy who can play, basically all you need is 3 microphones.
Okay. 3 microphones.
We can get away with 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know you can.
But if you're being fastidious and judicious, we can go over the top and spot everything, which will then give you, I guess, a more modern sound.
Yeah.
And it'll give you more flexibility. But if you want something nice and raw that just showcases you as a player and nothing else, just kick, one overhead there, the Glyn Johns technique, one overhead on the side, something like that, or even kick, snare, 2 overheads, and you're done.
You kind of can't argue with the Glyn Johns technique, the 2 condensers.
I love it. I just love it.
The thing is, I've really thought a lot about my snare drum sound recently, because I fell in love with a snare drum sound. There's a drummer from Atlanta named J-Rod.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he's currently playing with, over the weekend, he played with Jeffrey Osborne.
Ooh,
but he's all over YouTube. And the first thing that I saw him in made me change my snare drum head, because he didn't use a coated snare drum head. He had like a blue Aquarian tom head on his snare drum. Okay. And it just rang beautifully.
Okay.
And there was so much. It was almost like his drums sound wet. That wet, splashy drum sound that's really super. And the right player that pulls that off, I think, man, it just sounds great. And it sounds down home and funky.
Yeah, that's the thing about funky, isn't it? It means so much more than just funk.
Yeah.
So let's explore that a little bit. And this is like the stuff that Jon and I talk about. So Jon will go to his home, the drums, right? But if you say to whatever band is in front of your window and you're like, can you make that funky? It's not like the bass player's like, no, I don't got anything to do. I can't make it funky. So how does the bass player work within that drum paradigm to make it funky? How does the lead guitar make it funky? What do those guys do?
Well, I think it's like John said. It's about creating that tension. So rather than maybe strumming out, suddenly they can put a little ticka ticka, a little push pull thing in there,
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't have to happen all the way through the song. It could just maybe happen that one time where you go, "Whoa, what was that? That is so cool!" And then you want to you have to hit play again because you want to hear it again,
Yeah.
as opposed to, okay, I'm bored with that now because they've been doing it for the last 14 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Also, the
Yeah.
thing that I love is the relationship of how much to play, because a lot of times, you know, it's impressive to to jam a bunch of notes
Mm,
in and play something really flashy, but I find that it's funkier a lot of times if you do that in very short spurts.
exactly.
And then if you're
Exactly.
very, very tasty and you just play as few notes as possible.
It's just gonna stand out so much more.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just grooving away, and then you pull something like that out of out of the pocket, and you go, "Oh wow, where'd that come
Yeah.
from? That's
Right.
cool."
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it too. Surprises.
yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing more fun in music than surprises. When you have those little
Yeah,
phrases that make you go, "Oh, okay. All right."
we don't get a lot of those in modern music at the moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel.
Who can we point out that's surprising us every once in a while? Like who John Mayer to
John
me.
Mayer, Foo Fighters, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
Dave Grohl, he's got surprises up the wazoo.
Yep. Yep.
you know.
Yeah. I love Dave
Um,
Grohl as a drummer too.
oh God, yeah, God, yeah,
So
definitely.
someone we've had on the show a lot, and this go back to the funk thing, is Brian Dunn, who plays in Daryl Hall's band, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they'll have
He's
someone
funky.
like CeeLo is on live from Daryl's house, right? And then they're gonna play the funky version of a CeeLo song, and
Uh-huh.
it's like, well, it's already funky, but okay. And so, how do you make something even more funky? What is Brian doing, John? That because look, obviously Brian knows how to play funk. He's in all those bands that play that kind of music. What's he doing
Yeah.
that makes a song that's funkier?
Well, let's remember that before he was in Hall and Oates, he was in the Average White Band. So yeah,
Okay.
super funky European band. I think isn't the Average White Band from Belgium? They
No,
might be from Belgium.
no. It's English. Hamish is Scottish.
Oh, oh,
So
oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Anyway, I stand corrected. So, what is Brian playing? I don't know. Brian's just a funky player. He's a student of the backbeat. Um, and I love that he's funky and plays traditional grip, which somehow makes it even funkier.
Oh, what he?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of funk players playing traditional grip. I'm trying to think of one. Nope, got nobody. Just Brian.
Yeah, it is definitely that push and pull, which I think must be a mad mathematical equation because you're pushing on one side, you're pulling on the other, and
Uh-huh.
somehow you end up with something that is so tight.
Yeah.
It's like what? And that doesn't really work. It's like plus and minus canceling each other out and making something like really. Mm. But yeah,
Yeah, it is a canceling out. It does
yeah.
feel like that. It that's what puts that feeling in your lower back
Mm-hmm.
that makes
Mm-hmm.
it funky. It's like, oh, there's something about this. It's just, it's, it's like a vacuum or something. It's making my back and my neck feel weird. Barbara Blotzer Brown remembers when Confunction had a recording studio on Sonoma Boulevard in Vallejo. Yeah, I think that's like a computer parts store now. It's like a not even like it's almost like a neighborhood. I don't know what it is. It could be a fish sandwich store or whatever. But yeah, I'm familiar with that building. We used to drive by that building all the time and think, man, they make records in there.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was neat. That was the first time that I was aware of a purpose-built, uh, recording studio building, and to have one in your city, which Vallejo is a small town about 35 miles north for our international audience of San Francisco.
That's right.
And in order to put a studio there, you had to have a hit record so you could spend some money on the place. And that's exactly what they did. And it was neat to have a studio in Vallejo. Sort of legitimized the whole city in my eyes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Vallejo. Yeah.
Yeah. And Vallejo, Vallejo's a music town because, Vallejo is a good place to come from humble means. So naturally, when there is a whole town that comes from humble means, you get a lot of basketball players.
Okay.
And rappers now, but before that, musicians. So
yeah.
Sly Stone being one. Sly Stone predated even Confunction, and then Confunction, which has experienced a resurgence, not to us, because we've always known that they were around, but recently, Bruno Mars, and he recorded, he covered Love Strain, he and Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Vallejo, the 29.
Yeah, right. That's right. Highway 29.
That's right.
It goes right through Vallejo, and typically people get on 29 so they can go all the way to Napa and go do some wine tasting.
That's right. Yeah. I prefer Sonoma.
Yeah.
I
do too. Damn it, Wes. Really?
Yes.
Me too. The next time you're in town, I'm going to bring you to this place in Sonoma that's my favorite winery, and it's just these two guys.
It's not the same one as my favorite one, is it?
Which one is it?
Little Family Vineyards in Glen Ellen.
Little Family Vineyards in Glen Ellen. This is in Healdsburg, and it's Emmett Scorsone. All right. So then what we'll do is we'll spend the day and we'll visit both.
Too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That would be a good day.
Sounds good. Yes.
Yeah.
Pete's coming up for that. He doesn't know it yet, but he is.
And we need to go. We need to go to Scott's place too, right?
Yeah. Well, he's selling it. He's selling it. Yeah, it's in wine country in Temecula. They got good wine down there too. I wanted to ask. So, when are you coming to America again? When do you have any plans at all? Any projects? Because right before the pandemic, you were going to be here a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, pandemic. Well, I'm just gonna slowly pick up the pace again. Do some shows and start the networking again, and start building it up like that. I mean, obviously, we've had to spend a lot of time setting up base here as well, for the wonderful thing that is Brexit. Not. Yeah. So yeah, that's taken up a bit of time, and obviously, it's an ongoing thing.
I saw.
Yeah, we gotta get you some gigs out here.
Yeah.
Excuse to come out.
Definitely.
Last time I saw you out here, you were recording at Laughing Tiger.
We were at Laughing Tiger. Yeah. And then spent some time on Pete's. Spent some time on Pete's terrace.
Yes. Yeah. Now we got to have some of Jerry's chili verde. It's so goddamn good. Just drop an egg on it, and it's wonderful. I went and I saw Rick Beato live, and there's a couple things about Rick Beato that I think is incredible. One is he no longer is a producer,
right?
He's just not going to make music anymore, and you can understand he's in his 60s. He's like, it's just you can't have as many producers these days, and I just don't have to be in that grind, that hustle. And by the way, his level of YouTube, oh my God, he makes a lot of money and he can go and travel around and fill a theater. I mean, this is a
Right.
good sized
He's
theater.
more successful doing what he's doing now than he was when he was a producer, and he was a good one.
He's a
Mhm.
damn good man. He had a #1 song and everything. So I guess my question is a couple things. The access to good musical education, I guess that's going to matter. I mean, we're not going to, at least in the States, we're not going to get it in schools, but you can go and you can watch dozens of people that teach incredible things, techniques. He talks a lot about theory and all, like mixolydian and all these different modes that you can play in and everything. But also the state of the industry, because he was talking about how AI continues to encroach on music jobs. They can just, they've got robots that can make good enough for backtrack sound Mozart, like make Mozart, and then it can just
Sure.
go make
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Well, I don't know. Somebody will probably shoot me down for saying this, but until a robot can tap into a human being's soul and heart, sorry, we're still winning.
Yeah, and life and experience.
And
and
if you want
grit,
Lego,
temerity.
if you want Lego music, yeah, then fire up all your libraries and your loops and don't do anything with it. Just copy 8 bars, copy 16 bars, do another 32 and do the same again, and you'll sound exactly the same as everybody fucking else at the moment. As opposed to picking up an instrument, playing your heart out, or even if you're a programmer, take your loops, take your preset sounds and stick them through all this amazing outboard gear and make them your own. AI
Yeah.
can't do that yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I think. And AI won't tell you that you sucked on that take and that you can do fucking better.
Yes, yes. And it can't play, frustrated, pissed off, heartbroken.
Yeah.
Those things come through.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a time when I was working with my cousin Daryl. He inculcated me in the recording industry business and taught me the recording trade. And there was one time where he bought an MPC 60.
Mm-hmm.
And bought it used and picked it up, and it came with this big box of discs that just had a bunch of shit on it.
Floppy
But
disks, yes.
among that, and it was an enormous box with just tons of floppy disks. It had a bunch of noise, but in there, once we really, really went digging, and it took a while before we discovered it, but it was actually Bob Clearmountain's drum, his collection of drum sounds.
Yikes.
And then we realized, oh my God, this is like stumbling upon, a Stradivarius in an attic. And
Yeah.
so, we started to plug those sounds in, and but in spite of all that we were trying to do, we couldn't do what he did with those sounds.
Yeah.
We had them all.
Yes.
Do what he did.
Nope. No. That's human beings for you.
That's right. Hey, gentlemen, I have to go to this building inspection. So,
all right.
I will say, Wes, man, it's great seeing your face. Always great seeing your face, Pete. I love you, my brothers. I'm signing off.
Be kind to them.
Thanks.
I want to get back to Rick Beato and his ilk, because there are so many. Like, we have a show that does a lot of stuff about music, right? But we're not like that kind of a music show where they're breaking down specific things. Are you fascinated at all by this stuff? Do you find yourself watching YouTube and watching people break down or talk about a story about it? Because there's so many things, like the time when John Lennon played the wrong bass line, all this stuff that people explore and they, pontificate or expound on.
I will check certain things out. I mean, especially if it's like, some of my heroes. If Andrew Sheps is talking about something, or George is talking about something, I will check that out. But with that comes also the fact that I'm busy doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we never stop learning. Nobody stops learning in this industry, in this life. If you stop learning, you might as well drop dead. So um, yeah, it is interesting and it's fun. I have to admit, 9 out of 10, I walk away thinking, okay, you didn't really provide us with any information there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the point I'm trying to make is like there's so much out there that it's difficult to stumble across the good stuff.
Mm.
You know, you have to wade through a whole heap of stuff before you come up with something that will actually be useful and helpful. And nobody's really guiding you
Yeah.
to those things.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of that stuff is sponsored as well. So you get a lot of people say you have to use this on a voice. Nothing else will be better. It's like,
Right. Right.
fuck
It's like
off.
microphones. Can
Yeah.
you ever own enough microphones to do enough things? It seems impossible.
Oh.
Everybody's like, this is the one. Like bad microphones aside, sometimes even bad microphones have a
Yeah,
certain,
but bad microphones can be fun too.
right. Yeah. I've got here in my Army Foot Locker, I've got a 1950s era Shure, like the silver mic. That's really
Oh,
good.
nice.
And it's not worth the money to fix it, but that's why it's worth the money to fix it. It's a ribbon mic, and I don't know what specifically is wrong with it, but
The ribbon will probably be stretched, and
yeah.
it's a ribbon job. It's not a biggie.
Yeah. Well,
Won't be too expensive.
yeah, maybe I should do it. Maybe I should spend the money
Mm.
to do it. But I guess going back to this whole thing about YouTube, that's interesting is you get all these stories. You know what? Forget that part. I want to get
Mm.
into. So, like, one of the things Rick does is he'll go and talk about like the top 10 songs on Spotify.
Mhm,
And one of the
mhm.
things I know from YouTube is that the title, the thumbnail, all these things are part of the algorithm. And so it's like insidious. Like you can make the most beautiful song ever. Like
Mhm.
Jimi Hendrix's song Waterfall. I don't know how many
Mhm.
times that ever gets played, but because it's not Foxy Lady, it's not
Mhm.
Red House, it's probably 15th on the cut. So it by the algorithmic nature of things, it gets depressed out of existence. And I'm
Yeah.
just saying Waterfall just because that's a very good song.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the thing, like you can make a beautiful song, and if it
And
doesn't,
and nobody will hear it.
yeah, not and
Yeah.
they're not allowed to even hear it. Like you can type in Wes Maebe Pete Turner on YouTube,
Mhm.
and you'll get videos for the news or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
hey, by
Mhm.
the way, the exact names are in here.
Yeah, right, right.
And that's got to be just murder on someone like Matt Hoy who makes incredible music,
Mm.
but
Mm.
they're going to always recommend Bob Marley in front of you because everybody just wants to
Sure.
hear Bob Marley.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a question of making noise and stuff like that. And yeah, in a way it is good because it has democratized music. So in a way it's good that a lot more people will no longer hit the trash can in the A&R office.
Right.
But there's a lot of noise, and you need to cut through that. Well, the good old days. You went to your record shop. You
Yeah.
bought something new that you heard you had to have, and the guy or the girl behind the counter would go, "Oh, you like that? You should check this out."
Yes. Yeah.
And you walk away with something that just blew your mind that otherwise you would have never listened to. And in a way that's the same thing with people who listen to this also listen to this, but like you say, it is algorithm driven.
Yeah.
And it's like you're more likely to be introduced to, if you're listening to Hendrix, that they're probably going to give you, I don't know, Stevie Ray Vaughan rather
Sure.
than you know Keb Mo or something. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that. So you are tied into the AI.
The other thing, this is interesting to me, and we love. You always have to do these stupid caveats. I love music. I want musicians to do well. I'm celebrating musicians. We're
Mm,
having a conversation. So Stranger Things comes out, and the Duffer Brothers make this incredible franchise for entertainment. And Kate Bush, who when
Mhm.
Kate Bush debuted with that song in 1985, I was alive. I was like musically, and she was completely irrelevant. You knew who she was,
Yeah.
but was she more relevant than The Fall or The Firm, The Farm, all these other bands from that era that you don't remember? Because she wasn't Bruce Springsteen, she wasn't Tina
Right.
Turner, she wasn't, on the chart that day that her song broke, Phil Collins and Genesis, right? Like these are monster bands. I think the
Oh, yeah.
Who was charting then. And
Right.
so God bless. I love that Kate Bush is going to make a bunch of money from this, and now she's on every TikTok video in the world and everything. And how about Master of Puppets being rediscovered all these
Yeah.
years later?
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, like, what is really great music, and has it always been this way?
I think it has always been this way, but the landscape keeps changing. Uh, yeah, it's like now. Do you? Yeah, it's like I said that there is so everybody can release music,
Yeah,
which is great because it gives the opportunity to people who could have never dreamt of releasing a song. They can release it now. But with that comes the added problem of how are people going to hear my music?
yeah,
Uh, Major labels are no longer interested in doing anything for you anyway. They want you to do everything for them, and then they'll consider signing you.
yeah, including bring an audience.
Yeah, everything. I mean, venues are now like, yeah, you can play here, but you have to bring 120 people, otherwise you're going to pay us this much. It's like, the fuck are you doing? Just
Yeah, yeah.
close your doors. Jesus Christ.
This is
We are bringing added value to your bar experience. Thank you very much.
right, right. I am the performer, not the ticket seller.
Right, right.
Um,
Oh yeah, it's great exposure. Yeah, you want exposure? Okay.
yeah. So Sage, we were talking about Sage off mic before the show started. But Sage
Mm,
Logan, who's she's been on the show before. I'll put a link up here for her stuff. But she's
excellent.
sort of in the same spot. She's in the right place. She's in Southern California,
Yep.
and she can go out, and there's like I don't know, venues that feature up and coming artists.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
if
mm-hmm.
she can sell 20 tickets or 30 tickets, I mean, and this is what you need to do these days to build an audience, but it's much more about marketing.
You
Like you
always
can,
had to do that though.
have you?
That's
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, people. So, yeah, and especially younger bands that they kind of go, well, okay, well, we've recorded something now. Now we're going to be famous. It's like, whoa. Check out how long the Beatles had been performing before they even recorded something. I
Yeah.
mean, they were a well-oiled machine, and it's that kind of pre-fame history that people don't realize. It's like how much hard work these bands have been putting in.
Yeah.
Slogging everywhere and playing 3 shows a day, 4 shows a day, driving at night, risking their lives because they're so exhausted. But you have to put in the work. It's not going to come to you. You have to go and get it.
Yeah. I mean, can
Sadly.
you imagine being out there, in the mid 50s and you buy a ticket to a package show and here comes Elvis, like Orbison, the
Hmm.
Killer, Elvis. I mean, did I say Elvis? Johnny Cash. I mean,
Yeah.
Carl Perkins, and you see these incredible, yeah. But you do, and just today, even now, you have to leave the house, right? You have to be willing to go out and go see Sage Logan live, or go, hey, I'm just
Yeah.
going to go see this collection of bands, and who knows what happens.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. And it supports the artists because, they they need your money to keep providing you with entertainment.
Yeah, 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 they do. That's the other thing too is that industry. Music leads to a lot of addiction. If you're at all prone to go that direction, the speed that
Hmm.
you have to take to stay awake to drive you and your friends who are all performers. If that car gets into a wreck and Carl Perkins is, and Elvis are sleeping head to head in the back. I mean,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
you have so many areas, and then you're just like, what are we gonna do now? We're up. It's midnight. We're all high as hell from the show, and it's like, well, now we're just gonna party all night, because Why not?
Yeah, well, that doesn't last long.
No, we have learned that, right? We've
Just
learned.
just a few lucky ones who got away with it.
Yeah, yeah. You're right, because I mean, you look at someone like Bruce Springsteen, Sammy Hagar. These guys are in their 70s and
Mhm.
they're super fit, and they have been fit for a long time. Sting has always been fit, right? And
Yeah.
we got through that 70s era where people were taking risks and treating their bodies like they'd live forever, and they did not.
And the 80s, I mean,
That's true too. Yeah,
look at Motley Crue.
yeah,
Whew.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that took a lot of hard work to still be alive.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, you look at a band like Pantera, half of them aren't
Right.
for various reasons, right?
Various reasons.
They
Yeah,
lived
yeah,
on
yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's a hard industry to
but
survive.
yeah, it's a hard industry. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of dedication, and you just gotta keep pushing.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
When
Yeah.
so you talked earlier, I think it was off mic about someone who won. Oh no, it was on mic. Someone who won a contest and comes into the studio.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
don't know what you're walking into. I mean, obviously, you know your job. You're super like. If folks don't know, Wes is really good at what he does. When someone walks in, how do you know where to gear? Like, you don't want to smash someone's dream, but you also want to push them. How do you find that sweet spot?
Well, I mean, with Florentine, she came and had a look at the studio. So we had a quick chat, and I heard the demos of the songs, but then I kind of leave those be because I don't want to be locked into that box of that format. Um, I mean, it's just about, in this case, being chill because it's her on her own. She's 16, 17. That's scary. First time and then you walk into a studio like this, which is like, ha, holy crap, what am I gonna do here? And then suddenly there's a microphone in front of you and you have to stand there and you have to sing your songs. And then I'm sitting at the other end of the glass saying, "Oh, I think we can do that one a little better."
Yeah.
So it's difficult, and in her case all her song topics were very, 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 very serious.
Hmm.
She had a tough time during COVID with, lots of sort of family emotional stuff that she was trying to work out, and so they were really intense topics. So it was my job to kind of try and pull that out of her performance rather than just singing the lyrics. I wanted that emotion to be on tape. I want you to be able to feel that. And that was hard work, but we got there. It's a very fine line because I'm like, I don't want it to break down either completely, but I just get her close enough to that line to feel that thing that made her write that song again and give us the listener that. And
Yeah.
she did it. She got there. Yeah, I mean, I definitely had some moist eyes at one point.
Let's see the robot do that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
get that, make the engineer, get a little damp in the eyes. I mean, that's what you want to see, right? Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And it gives her more tools going forward as well, because now she knows how to tap into that
Yeah.
well and get that out if required. And she's putting in the job. I mean, I went to see her perform a week ago, and she's doing gig after gig after gig
Okay.
just by herself, piano, guitar.
Yeah.
People stop at these. I mean, they're like you know li- little bar gigs, but people stop and ask for her number so she can come and play at their child's wedding or something. It's like,
Right.
wow, keep going.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. Just keep going. We had Taylor Dane on the show, right? Here's
Hmm.
of a woman, and she had the voice, but equaled everything else. She'd play bowling alleys. She didn't care. She's like, I am going to do this. I'm going to get a gig tonight. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to learn this business by doing this business.
Mm,
and that that's tough to replace. If someone's willing to do that and you're not, good luck to you.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Anything. Just do them all. You never know who's gonna be having a drink in that seedy dive bar that night.
Yeah, you never
You
know.
never know.
Yeah, you really don't. You really don't ever know. Like the people we met along the way on the ride, some guy getting gas. Hey, what do you guys do? The next thing you know, here's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of assets, for the charity. Like
Wow.
all the time by just being out there, right? And maybe we don't get to realize it, but these opportunities each time, it's like, hey, call us,
Yeah.
follow up, let's do this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. So there's we've had our artist named Celeste who's here, and she's in America and young
Yeah.
and incredible. I'm not talking about her specifically, but everybody should check her out. Celeste Butler. There's the other Celeste on your end of the world who is just incredible, and she's very soulful and she
Hmm.
sings incredible. But she's you don't want to say she's come from nowhere, but she's been very fortunate early on, and she sang as the musical act on Graham Norton, which
Right.
Britain, I mean, that's as big as I don't know, does Top of the Pops even play anymore? Yeah.
I can't remember. No, I don't think so. I think the only other show is Jules Holland.
Right, Jules, yeah,
Jules
and boy,
Holland's
what a
show.
great
Yeah.
talking to too. Yeah, so you have a chance to do something basically the biggest, talk show thing.
Mm,
And then she also got picked to sing with Paul Weller. They did like a symphonic thing of like his songs. And so the people that you're singing with are Paul Weller, you know,
yeah.
this professional orchestra. I can't remember the guy who did all the arrangements, but he's like a legend.
Okay.
Boy George is coming in to sing.
Nice.
Somebody, like just all these incredible people, and then you're the new girl, and that microphone has got to look like terrifying when you go to walk up and sing live with an orchestra. I don't know. Well, what do you think?
I don't know. I think that depends on how you're wired. I mean,
Mhm.
it might be that I mean, some people, for some people, this is like riding a bike, and that's where they live. That spot right there, that's where they live, and they go, oh my god, yeah, this is amazing. Now I'm gonna knock it out of the park.
Right.
Or you could be like me. Whenever I have to do a panel at the NAM show, I'm a mess up until I open my mouth at the start of the session. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm
Uh-huh.
terrible. And then I start talking, and then that's all gone. And then it's pure adrenaline. It's like, yes, we're off. This is going. This
Yeah.
is working. So, I think it depends on how you're wired. But yeah, of course. I mean, you wouldn't be human if you stand there and go, yeah, this is fine. I
Yeah.
think you have to have a degree of, oh wow. This
Yeah.
is gonna be great.
Yeah, and then you get down to work and all that stuff. But yeah, it's Paul Weller live at the Barbican. If anybody who's looking for that, and James Buckley is the guy who did the orchestral arrangement.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's just incredible what they did. And so we got a guy, Steve Moretti, who's from my hometown, and he's a drummer. And he built in Macon, Georgia. He built a pops like whole like thing with the symphony there. In
Oh
fact,
right,
there's a symphony in Macon, Georgia, because Macon is not Atlanta. It's
right.
not Augusta. Like it's a smaller place, but he and his buddy with their own hands have pulled this thing up and made this thing incredible. And so, and for folks who don't know what pops is, you're taking popular music and symphony music and smashing them together. But you have these incredible bodies of work, and it's just great because you have someone like Celeste show up and they're going to play these 10
Mm,
songs in a 90 minutes. You walk out and you're like, that was incredible. It was an amazing experience.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds great.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a Welsh singer, Kristen something. Krista, I can't remember. She's really, really, really famous. I can't think of her name right now. I'll figure it out in here in a minute. We saw her live at our symphony hall, and she just did this whole thing with the symphony there.
Mm.
Just her voice and singing, and she sang a Dolly Parton song. Was it "I Will Always Love You"? But she sang it in Italian.
Oh
You know,
wow.
yeah, yeah, and just remarkable. I
Huh.
love I love seeing live music, right? And I love talking to you and everything else. It's just
Don't Don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't we
What
all? Yeah.
what else is on your mind?
What else is on my mind? I don't know. Plastering. I'm doing some work at the house.
Aha.
I'm
Yes.
struggling to find people who want to work. Funnily enough, so
Yeah.
I'm learning it myself.
Well,
It's hilarious. My living room looks like a massive cocaine deal went wrong. It's all this white powder from the plasterboard.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's exactly right? You make a
So,
mess with that stuff.
yes. So some of that. I've got the Florentine project to master. I've got the Red Stags to master, and
Mhm.
I'm working with 3 more songs for these guys,
Mhm.
and then a couple more songs for the label they just signed to, which is local to here, deep into music. And Luke makes his own tunes as well. So he's like a smooth trance kind of stuff. So
Like,
I'm mixing those as well, which is great fun.
yeah, sounds like you're busy.
That's what I'm up to, and then I need to get my ass back to London as well, because I've got a few things there as well.
What does that trip look like logistically? Like, is it a train ride? Is it
Logistically, it's yeah, it's easy. Various ways you can do it. You can go by car. It's a couple of hours, but at the moment, with since they've closed the borders,
yes?
I mean, last time I came back here, I was getting texts from friends saying, "Hey, did you make it okay?" I was like, what's the problem?" It's like, there were like 15-hour tailbacks.
Oh,
People were sleeping in their cars to try and get across to the ferry.
oh,
So the train ride is 2 hours.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get on a train in London, and 2 hours later, I'm in Brussels. And yeah, boom.
Does that go through the channel, or where does that go through the
Yeah,
train?
yeah, that goes underneath the channel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes.
it spends about maybe 30 minutes
Yeah.
underwater,
Yeah.
and then you're up in France, and then
I've not been through the tunnel. I'd like to go at some point. That's like a big thing, but never done it.
it's a short thing, but yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It is definitely the easiest and the most comfortable way to do this journey, because you just sit down.
Yeah.
There's a bar carriage. You can do a bit of drinking if you want to,
That's my favorite place to ride on the
and
train.
that's
We
it.
have more like a club car, so it's like snacks and nothing's good, but it's just got a good vibe. So I plug in and I do my work on the train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Our train system isn't very good, so it's you have to like force yourself to take it, and it's
Yeah.
it's not as good as
Well,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
slightly more ground to cover too.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, do you want to play anything? I'm gonna start asking musicians to play something if they want to. Do you want to play anything at all?
I don't have my instruments here.
Well,
I was already en route.
oh, were you?
If I'd known, I'd have brought my guitar.
Next time.
So maybe we'll keep that as a
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah, we'll talk
I
about Galaxy
yeah.
and just bring
Yeah, definitely.
your
I mean,
band.
I have been playing a lot. I'm destroying my fingers with Larry Carlton at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
His intro to "Don't Take Me Alive" has been hounding me for years, and now I'm like, fuck it, I gotta
I
learn.
wonder if I can get Larry Carlton on the show.
Larry would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
That
All right,
would
man.
be
Well, listen, I'm going to wrap this
sweet.
up. Anything in closing? Any questions for me?
No, man. Just keep fighting the good fight, and we'll do this again soon.
You know it. And we're going to
And
get tacos.
have a taco for me.
I will. I'll do it tonight. All right, stand by.
Miss-
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by your